Our Lord said, "Write what you see." I must write. Oh, shalom. My name is John. I'm an apostle of Jesus Christ, and it's been many years since I began to follow Jesus. Many, many years. I have experienced so much. I've seen the great magnificence of acts of God, such as few men have ever seen. And I have suffered very great hardship. Even now, I am in exile because of my faith in Jesus. Yes, even though I am old, my memory is still very good. I remember when Jesus first called me. I was with my brother James. We were sitting in my father's boat, mending fishing nets with some hired servants. Jesus called out to us from the shore to come follow him. And we both didn't hesitate. We left. We immediately dropped our nets, and we left the hired servants behind. And we followed him. At once, I couldn't be sure why we followed him without any reservation. But now I know it was the call of God. The Holy Spirit led us to become apostles of Jesus. Let's write some more. And so many amazing things followed. We all witnessed the many miracles that Jesus did. We witnessed his transfiguration. James, Peter, and I all went up the mountain with Jesus, and we saw him transformed. And before our eyes, his clothes became blinding white, and his face was bright as the sun. It was glorious and frightening event. We even saw Moses and Elijah. They appeared and talked to Jesus. Jesus was revealing himself in all his glory as the Son of God. But there also came times of sadness and grief. When Jesus was arrested, all of the others ran. And when he was crucified, I was the only one that stayed to see everything finished. Jesus even instructed me from the cross to take care of his own mother. Yes, I have been called the disciple that Jesus loved. But just because I stayed does not mean that I fully understood or believed. No, I grieved for Jesus when he died. I did not think he would have come back again. But on Sunday, on the day of his resurrection, I ran to the tomb to see if the account was true. I remember I ran so fast that I outrun Peter. Ooh, I got to write that down. When I arrived, I looked into the tomb, and I saw the strips of cloth lying there, but I did not go in. Nevertheless, Jesus was not there. He was raised. Later, he appeared to all of us. He promised to send the Holy Spirit, and we saw him ascend into heaven. Since then, I've seen many great things. I was there when the Holy Spirit descended upon us, and we all apostles spoke the Gospels in all sorts of languages so that everyone could understand. I have seen thousands of people turn to believe in the Lord Jesus, but it has always not been great. There have been much resistance and persecution as well. There was a time in Jerusalem when King Herod sought to do violence to those who belonged to the church. He even seized my brother James. He put him to death with the sword. My brother was a faithful apostle of Christ. He was the first among the 12 to be martyred for the sake of Jesus, but he was not the last. No, over the years I have lost a great many friends. In fact, I'm the only one of the 12 left. But through all the years, though, through all the persecution and hardship, and even throughout my exile, I have endured. I have been preserved by the help of God and by the power of the Holy Spirit. And I know that I'm not alone. Jesus promised that he would always be with us, even to the end of the age. And he is with us. My brother was able to give up his life for the sake of the gospel because he knew Jesus was with him. It was the same for the others, and it's the same for me. I know this is all true because I myself have seen Jesus face to face. I am a witness. Yes, I walked and talked with him while he was here on the earth, appearing as a servant. But I have also seen him in glory, and not just on the Mount of Transfiguration. On the Lord's Day, something amazing happened to me. The Holy Spirit was upon me. I was encouraged in faith and perseverance that comes through Christ. Then something appeared. I heard the voice speaking to me. It was as loud and as clear as a trumpet. And I turned to see what it was. I saw 7 golden lampstands, and that had not been there before. And in the middle of these lampstands, a man was standing there. He was clothed in a long white robe, with a golden sash across his chest. His head and his hair was gleaming, blazing white, brighter than snow. And his eyes were aflame like the light of fire. His feet shone like bronze, aglow with the heat of the furnace. And his voice rushed forth like the force of all the ocean waves. And there were 7 shining stars, each one twinkling with the light of heaven. But they were not sparkling in the sky. No, he held them in the very palm of his hand. They were tiny, but still no lesser than splendor. But nothing was more great and terrible than his mouth. Out of his mouth flashed a double-edged sword, sharper than any forged by man. And around it was his face like the sun shining, all its strength. And when I saw him, I felt like a dead man. I was in awe. I was terrified. I was worshiping. I was unworthy. But he touched me. This great man, more illustrious than all the kings of the earth. He reached out and he touched me with his right hand. He comforted me as a friend. He spoke to me. As powerful as his voice had been, he spoke to me softly. He said, "Do not be afraid." At once, I knew who it was. Who else could it be? This was Jesus, my Master, the Lord, my friend, my God. He continued speaking to me, saying, "I am the first and the last. I am the living one. I was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. And I have the keys to the kingdom of death and Hades. Therefore, write the things which you have seen, and the things which are, and the things that will take place." Then he held out his right hand, and he showed me those stars, those glowing, beautiful stars. And he said, "As for the mystery of the 7 stars, which you see in my right hand, the 7 golden lampstands he mentioned around, indicated by the gilded pillars, he said, the 7 stars are the lampstands, the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches themselves." And he told me to write. He told me to write letters to the 7 churches. He told me to write down all the things that I would see and hear. And I have. I've written it all down. And I continue to write. He showed me many amazing things that I will not utter here, but I have all written them down. I have written the letters to the churches. I have written down my account of Jesus' life, the good news of the Holy Gospel, and I continue to do his work as long as I live. I have come this far, I can do no other. I will continue to persevere until Jesus finally returns or until he calls me home.